Okay, good morning, class. For today, we're going to discuss the Filipino self or the political self and being a Filipino. So, ano-ano nga daw ba yung mga national symbols natin dito sa Pilipinas? So, we have the official and the unofficial list of the national symbols. Bakit natin sila tinatawag na official and unofficial national symbols? Kasi for those na we recognize as official symbols, sila yung mga naipasa na sa batas. Pero yung mga unofficial, sila yung mga nire-recognize natin, nakasulat sa libro, however, hindi pa sila naisa sa batas. So, ano-ano nga daw ba yung iba't ibang official national symbols natin dito sa Pilipinas? So, we have the national flag, we have the national anthem, which is Lupang Hinirang, national flower na Sampaguita, national tree, Nara, national bird, Philippine eagle, national gem, Philippine pearl, national sport, Arnis. But for the unofficial list, ano-ano naman daw yon? We have the national hero. So up to now, wala pa din tayong kinikilalang national hero. Though in some books, we may see Jose Rizal as the one being listed. And also, we have read some books saying na ang national leaf natin ay anahaw. Pero as of now, wala pa din naman tayong national leaf. We also recognize mango as our national fruit, pero up to now, there is still no law proclaiming it is our national symbol or it is our national fruit. Also, for our national animal, which is the carabao, wala pa ding batas na nire-recognize yung kalabaw bilang national animal. Also for Bahay Kubo, it is a symbol of being a Filipino. However, up to now, wala pa ding batas recognizing it as a national symbol. And also, we have bangus as the national fish, pero its status is up to now unofficial. So going back to our next slide, how are we going to define politics? So sabi ni Kendall, politics is a social institution through which power is acquired and exercised by people in the groups. It serves as a mechanism by which individuals develop power and understand proper functioning of a democratic. So while for the perspective of Stevens, Anglin, and Jusim, they said that politics is the central component of their identity. So let's just base it from the definition of Kendall. So let's just remember that a politics is a social institution. It's like an organization formed by different people and composed by different people, wherein there are two significant events. And the first one is the power is being acquired. And how is the power being acquired? When is this power being acquired? And when is the only time where every Filipino shares equal rights or share the same power? And also, how do we exercise the said power, or how do people exercise the said power in the groups? So the first question is, how is power being acquired? So syempre, alam natin yan, isang pagkakataon lang sa Pilipinas na kung saan ang mahihirap at mayayaman ay nagiging pantay ay sa pamamagitan ng eleksyon. Kasi yung boto mo at yung boto ko pareho lang na iisa yung katumbas. At pag pinagsama-sama yun, nagkakaroon ng acquisition ng power ang isang tao. O yung tinatawag natin na national leader natin or political leader. And how do they exercise this? By leading the country or by leading the town, municipality, or the province na kung saan na-elect or na-grant or nabigyan ng power yung tao na to. Next is the political self. So pag sinabi naman natin na political self, it is defined by citizenship. So what is a political self? It organizes one's beliefs, attitudes, and affiliations and aids the processing of politically relevant information. So there are beliefs, there are attitudes, and there are also affiliations that are influenced by the people around you. It may be influenced by your family or by the friends or maybe by your school. And also, yung beliefs natin, it depends on the political system na kinalalagyan natin or kinalakihan natin, and as well as the attitude. This talks about the practices na meron yung family natin or meron yung mga tao na nasa paligid natin, most especially yung environment natin, kung papaano sila bumoto at kung papaano nga ba nila ine-exercise yung power nila na yon. Now, it also exemplifies the ideals and aspirations of the people. It embodies the rules and principle of the states and determines the status of the people as well as its power. So, ano nga daw ba yung political self na yan? The way we vote daw must be centered by the ideals and the aspirations of us being citizens. What are our dreams for the country? Ano daw ba yung mga gusto nating marating? Ano daw ba yung mga gusto nating magkaroon bilang citizens of the Philippines? And those are the basis daw of us being voters on how we build our political self. And syempre, uh, we are being embodied by the rules and the principles of the state. So, syempre, if it's against the law, if it's against the principle of the states, then we're not going to do it. Kasi, kung medyo lumalabag daw tayo doon sa rules and principles of the state, in a way, we are becoming apolitical. We don't care so much about the politics and what's going on with our surroundings. And now, it also determines the status and the power of the people. So, doon makikita mo, hindi ba, pagdating sa voting system, ano nga daw ba talaga yung klase ng population ng mga Pilipino na kung saan mas malakas pagdating sa botohan, mas powerful, mas nagle-lift ng status ng ibang tao. Ano nga din daw ba yung klase or strata ng mga tao na kung saan nahihila yung mga boto ng mga, let's say, politikong karapat-dapat just because they are more not influential but they are more powerful kasi nga pag pinagsama-sama mo na sila, they are outnumbering the votes na kung saan mas intelligent at mas pinag-isipan yung mga boto nila. Next is the origins of political self. So, nabanggit na natin to kanina. How are you forming your origin or how are you forming your political self? And that's by recognizing your the sources around you. Okay, now let's go to the first origin of the political self, and that is the family. So, ano nga daw ba yung mga natututuhan natin na practices inside our own homes or within the family members? Ano-ano nga daw ba yung mga tinuturo ng parents natin on the process of voting, on the ideologies, on the beliefs na dapat ay pina-follow natin? Aside from that, how is the church guiding our conscience and our principles when it comes to developing our political self? Do they really have that big impact or big role when it comes to the politics of the Philippines? Also, we have to check on the role of the school. Siyempre, kung ano yung mga tinuturo ng mga teachers natin, kung paano natin naaral yung world history, on how tragic, how difficult the life during the past few years, and how did it improve nowadays. So, yun yung mga bagay na natututuhan natin from school. And of course, the way our country progresses according to the books, and maybe the economy declines or improves, that also shows kung ano nga ba yung mga learnings natin when it comes to choosing our political leaders. Natuto ba talaga tayo? Nag-improve ba o mas lumala pa tayo ngayong mga panahon na to? Another is sa peers. Ano nga daw ba yung mga practices na po pwedeng nakukuha natin from our friends, our classmates, Or kung halimbawa, ikaw naman ay nagtatrabaho, from your colleagues. Are the votes of your peers influencing the kind of or the manner by which you choose your candidates? Kapag ba halimbawa, hindi pabor or hindi nila gusto yung ibinoto mo, will it affect your friendship with that person? Or kailangan pareho kayo ng iboboto or pareho kayo ng gugustuhing kandidato? And of course, the most influential among these origins is the mass media. No, nakaraang presidential election, sobrang daming epekto ng mass media at nakita natin yon when it comes to misinformation and disinformation. So ano nga daw ba yung pinagkaiba ng misinformation and disinformation? So you have to check on that and make a research on that. So if you are watching this video lesson, I'd like you to write your answer doon sa comment section ng Google Classroom natin where I posted your video lessons. So I know kung pinanood mo nga ba yung video lesson na to or hindi. So again, what's the difference between disinformation and misinformation na nakukuha natin from mass media or in a way from the people from our environment? Now, what are the different theories of political self? So the first one is the social learning theory, which a person can acquire learning through observation and imitation. So the model will exhibit a certain behavior, and if you are able to copy it or imitate that behavior, then there is learning. Okay, again, there is modeling. Then if you are able to imitate the behavior, then that means there is learning. Kaya siya tinawag na social learning theory because you need interaction with other people for you to learn a certain behavior. Another is cognitive theory, which suggests that mental activities of individuals are important determinants of behavior. When you say mental activities, this is how you process the information around you. When you hear some misinformation or disinformation, do you easily believe on that? Or do you have your own sets of principles and beliefs na magpapatatag nung pagbibuild mo ng sarili mong political self? So that's cognitive theory. It talks about the process of thinking na nangingibabaw sa'yo as a political individual. Next is the theory of symbolic interaction. So paano naman daw yung theory of symbolic interaction? So this suggests that behaviors are products of communications, meaning, and symbols. So for us to know who are the qualified candidates, then of course, there will be symbols na gagamitin natin. There will be flyers, there are advertisements, and there are actions by which we can use for us to interpret the said behavior. Kailangan daw natin ng actions or symbols na to for us to know or for us to decide very well kung sino nga ba yung kailangan nating iboto. So yun yung symbolic interaction natin. We do not need to interact directly to the person, but the symbols na ginagamit nila, yung mga flyers, posters, or the advertisements, or sometimes the way we know news about these people may already show us a glimpse of who they really are or whether they are qualified to become leaders or not. And last is the theory of political participation. So sabi natin kanina, as we define politics, it's a social institution by which the power is acquired. And the second one is being exercised by the people. So in relation to the theory of political participation, this is defined as your actions or as the activities that are being anchored in politics. So for as long as we are able to deal with our society and we are able to do the things within the common good and best interest of the people, then there is political participation in our part. For as long as you're doing your job as a citizen, you are law-abiding, you are doing your responsibility as a taxpayer, being a responsible worker, that means you are already doing your share in politics or also in the society. So yun yung political participation. Ano-ano yung mga ginagawa mo that may be anchored in politics? Well, you have to remember that aside from being called as social being or social animals, we are also political animals. Lahat ng mga bagay na ginagawa natin, related yan sa politics. Kasi the day you are born, you are already recognized as a citizen of the country wherein you are also obliged to do your responsibilities as a Filipino and also as an individual living here in the country. Now, who is the Filipino? So I'm not going to read this portion kasi you have to memorize this one. So you just have to remember that for the first 3 items, ito yung mga tinatawag nilang natural-born Filipinos. Walang prosesong pinagdaanan. Meaning, they are considered citizens of the Philippines naturally. Okay? Walang halong chemical. But for number 4, they are naturalized. Meaning, there is a process or a legal process na pinagdaanan for them to acquire the citizenship. And what kind of process is that? You call it naturalization. Now, what are the Filipino values and traits na alam natin? So this is the task which I gave you para ma-accomplish ninyo yung digital posters ninyo. However, there was no discussion yet about this for me to know if you are able to discern and determine the correct definition of each Filipino value and trait. Now, for Filipino hospitality, so alam mo na yan, it's the manner by which we welcome our guests and tourists with all our hearts, diba? And making them feel at home. Na minsan, yung mga kutsara, yung mga pinggan na hindi naman pinapagamit ng mga nanay natin, basta meron tayong bisita, hindi ba? Lumalabas yan. Or minsan naman, yung kwarto mo, nananahimik ka, bigla may ibang bisita na gagamit. So that's a form of hospitality, 'di ba? Kapag may mga turista tayo, palagi may parada, may pa-balloons, may pa-banderitas, ganun tayong ka-hospitable sa pagtanggap ng mga visitors natin coming from other countries or sometimes when we do heroes welcome for those citizens na nanalo sa iba't ibang mga patimpalak all around the world. Next is respect for elders. Ano naman yung respect for elders na tinatawag natin? So when you say respect for elders naman, it is manifested through the following. So what are those? The first one is Filipinos greet their elders by kissing their hands while saying mano po. So mano po or pagmamano, and the other gesture is by constantly using po and opo. And of course, sorry, it's 3 pala. The first one is pagmamano. The second is by using po and opo. And the third one is by using references to elder people. Hindi natin sila tinatawag by names, but we use the terms tatay, nanay, kuya, lolo, and lola, and etc. Next is close family ties. Sabi nga natin, close family ties is a very positive Filipino value. However, when it is beyond what is required, then it becomes too dangerous and sometimes very contagious. Parang nagiging contagious disease na siya. Bakit? Kasi instead of us being independent and learning to live our own lives, ano yung nangyayari? We maintain a certain relationship with the family that's never ending, diba? We tend to depend from our parents and from the people who know na tutulong sa atin even though pamilyado na tayo. So that's close family ties. It's also the reason why whenever there are special occasions, Filipinos see to it na they go back home to their ancestral house, or maybe they always visit their parents kasi uh, it is in recognition of this Filipino value, which is called close Filipino ties. Next is cheerful personality. So this is very obvious, hindi ba? May mga disasters na, may mga calamities na tayo na nararanasan, yet we are still able to smile and laugh a lot. So it has been our coping strategy daw. So kapag napapanood natin sila sa TV, hindi ba, may mga taong tawa ng tawa, bumabagyo, pumuputok yung bulkan, pero when they face the camera, they always laugh. Not because they're having any disorder, but it's a coping mechanism for the Filipinos. We just laugh at our problems. Hindi natin masyadong dinidibdib yan. Diba? Next is self-sacrifice. So this is the reason why most of the Filipino people always go abroad, diba? Just to give a comfortable life for their families. Para mabili daw nila yung mga pangangailangan nila. And of course, to give them better lives. And most of the parents na pumupunta ng abroad is to finance the education of their children. So yun yung self-sacrifice as defined in this module. It's working abroad, working hundreds of miles away just to earn money and give them a better and comfortable life. Next is bayanihan. So tinanong ko sa inyo dati, according to the principle of symbolic interpretation, when I say draw something related to bayanihan, ano yung palagi mong ipapakita? Siyempre, meron siyang bubuhatin na kubo, hindi ba? That's the traditional and the ancient definition or illustration of bayanihan. But nowadays, ano nga ba yung mga symbols na ng bayanihan? So, let's say may fiesta, nagtutulong-tulong sila na magluto or may handaan, that's a form of bayanihan. Another is, kapag halimbawa naman, meron ka mga nilutong ulam, you can give it to your kapitbahay. Or nalaman ng kapitbahay mo na teacher yung isa sa family members mo, kung merong itatanong na assignment, tutulungan nung kamag-anak mo na teacher. So that's the bayanihan spirit. It's giving, helping, without expecting something in return. Next is bahala na attitude. So ano naman daw yung bahala na attitude na tinatawag natin? So it's from the phrase bathala na, which means leaving everything to God. Kaya na ni Lord yan. Hindi ka nag-review for the quiz yet, you're always saying bahala na si Batman or bahala na si God. So paano bahala na si God? Wala ka namang inaral. Diba? It's like, we're not doing anything, we're not doing or exerting any effort, yet we are hoping that God will not disappoint us. But in the first place, ikaw na talaga yung gumawa ng mga disappointing things na pwedeng maging reason why will you be sad or why something will fail. So, yun yung bahala na attitude. Colonial mentality. It's the lack of patriotism and attitude. Nowadays na patriotism and attitude towards the products of the Filipino, and even to the concept of being a Filipino itself. Nowadays, nauuso yung mga K-pop, yung mga foreign movies dyan sa Netflix that really influence us when it comes to our way of clothing or way of speaking, dancing, and sometimes, di ba, manners pa nga in culture. However, when you say colonial mentality, it's like forgetting what is really ours. Diba? And there's the ideology that what is foreign is best. So, mas gusto ko at mas maganda kung magiging mukha akong K-pop. Diba? Kaya nga marami sa mga Filipinos din yung nagpaparitoke and they would like to resemble their favorite K-pop idols. Pero, when you say colonial mentality, it's like you are becoming an element on how you're becoming an element in declining the economic status of the Philippines. In what way? Kasi 'di ba, lagi mong tinatangkilik yung foreign products, laging mas maganda para sa yung mga foreign products. So now what happens? Syempre, bumababa yung market value ng mga Filipino products natin. At syempre, yung mga labor workers natin, nawawalan sila ng trabaho because the products are not being sold in the market. So that's the effect of colonial mentality. Patuloy nating tinatangkilik yung iba and we fail to support our own. Next is manana habit. So what's manana habit naman? It was derived from the longer Filipino phrase mamayana. Pagpapabukas-bukas, in short. Yung mga bagay na pwede mo namang gawin ngayon and you are not busy with anything yet you decide to do it at a later time. So anong tendency? Nagka-cram ka kasi nagkakapatong-patong na yung mga ginagawa mong task. Next is ningaskugon. Ano naman daw yung ningaskugon? It's the attitude that you eagerly start things, yet you lose the eagerness in the middle of doing it, or maybe by the time that you experience any difficulty. Magaling sa umpisa, 'di ba? You are like igniting a fire and then pag nandiyan na yung fire, you're leaving it there. Parang sa project, excited at first, pero in the middle of it, nagagulo-gulo na, ayaw na mag-contribute ng iba, ayaw nang tumulong, then pati ikaw nawala na din ng gana. So that's Ninga's Kubon. Next is pride. Sabi ko nga, there are good and bad sides of pride. So ano daw yung good and bad side na yun? Kung ang definition nito ng pride is how we take ownership and give honor to those people who win in different fields. Let's say sports, Olympics, or singing contests. That's the positive definition of pride. Pero as defined by the module, yung pride na tinutukoy natin dito is the way we keep anger towards other people. Paano tayo nag-hold ng grudges? So it's like, kaysa mapahiya ka, kaysa mayura ka ng pagkatao mo, you will consider your feelings more than the relationship that you establish with other people. Medyo mahirap para sa atin ang mag-sorry at humingi ng tawad because for you, that equates your dignity. Next is crab mentality. Ano naman daw yung crab mentality na to? So, kanina colonial mentality is like, you're patronizing the products of the foreigners more than the Filipino products. Pagdating sa crab mentality, it's the toxic trait of the Filipinos by which you resent the achievement of another. Medyo hindi maganda ang pakiramdam mo kapag may nagtatagumpay na ibang tao. There is jealousy, 'di ba? You don't feel happy about it. Gusto mo kung hindi ka umaangat, dapat yung iba din hindi din umaangat, 'di ba? So kung yung kaibigan mo, siya lang yung nag-iisang pumasa doon sa exam ninyo, then it becomes a problem for you. Medyo masakit ang pakiramdam. Pero kung lahat kayong magkakaibigan, hindi kayo pumasa sa isang exam, then it's a little better in a way. Tama ba? So, dapat sama-sama tayo. Kung bagsak ako, dapat bagsak din kayo. Diba? Kung hindi ako masaya, dapat hindi rin kayo magiging masaya. Next is Filipino time. Ano naman daw ang tinatawag natin na Filipino time? So, pag sinabi natin na Filipino time, it's a very common attitude of arriving late at communities. Sinabi mo na dumating sa ganitong oras, yet hindi at hindi darating. Let's say, ang meet up ninyo ay 8 o'clock, darating 8:30, 9 o'clock, or sometimes 10 o'clock. Diba? That's very common to Filipinos. Kung anong oras yung pasok, 7:00, gagayak siya. Kung kailan malapit na at alam niyang kapos na yung oras. So that is Filipino time. There is no commitment or there is low commitment to time. Hindi katulad ng mga Americans na kapag sinabi mong 8 at exactly 8, they will be there. Now, what are the different Filipino markers? So we have proverbs or salawikain, superstitions, myths and legends, and heroes and icons. So let's just define the following. For proverbs and salawikain, so they are the sayings that convey lesson or reflection about the Filipino practices, beliefs, and traditions. So they are just a group of words given emphasis for us to reflect on our actions. Meaning, they are conveying values or lessons na po pwede nating i-apply sa buhay. For superstitions naman, these are the beliefs na pinasa natin from generation to generation. Na in a way, there is no basis. It's not even research or scientifically based. But since it was accepted from generation to generation, then for us Filipinos, since we are retelling these beliefs, for us this is correct. In a way, you may apply categorical imperative pagdating sa superstitions. Kumbaga, dahil tinanggap na ng henerasyon, yung iba, ginagawa nila or hindi nila ginagawa because they believe that it is correct and real. So, ano-ano daw ba yung mga paniniwala or superstitions na yon? So, example, pag kinasal, bawal daw isuot yung wedding dress bago yung kasal. Bawal magwalis sa gabi kasi malas daw. Kapag halimbawa, kumakanta daw yung isang babae habang nagluluto sila, magiging matandang dalaga siya. Next is, if you're coming from a wake and then you have to take a detour, hindi ka daw po pwedeng umuwi agad ng bahay kasi ang tawag doon ay pagpag. Kailangan magpagpag ka muna daw. So those are the Filipino superstitions. So for question number 2 that you have to answer in the comment box, can you give me a superstition na mayroon o nakalakihan ka when you were na nakalakihan ka or na pinaniniwalaan ng pamilya ninyo? Next is myths and legends. So pag sinabi naman natin na myths and legends, due to Philippines' rich culture and history, numerous myths and legends have sprung about things that are beyond one's imagination. These stories are aimed to explain the origin of things and at the same time teach a valuable lesson. So, ano-ano nga daw ba yung myths na yan? So, kung kanina yung salawikain or proverbs, they are words that convey lessons. Dito naman, yung myths and legends, they talk about the origin of anything. Diba? So, there's an origin, there is a story, and then after that, there is also a valuable lesson. So, kumbaga, pinapakita na nila how something evolved, and after that, may matututuhan ka pa out of that story. So, ganun kagagaling ang mga Pilipino pagdating sa pagsusulat. Next, heroes and icons. So, ano nga daw ba yung pinagkaiba ng heroes and icons? So, if you are watching this will be my third question. So, when you say heroes, they are a reminder of true patriotism and nationalism, meaning they fought for our country, lumaban, whether by pen or by arms, meaning they fought for the country. Pero when you say icons naman, they are famous in their field of expertise. They are well known for their abilities na inilaban natin sa ibang bansa. Pero ipinanglalaban natin sila because of their expertise. Walang kailangang fight na mangyari. When we say laban, it's a competition. Now, can you give me one hero and one icon? Okay, so that's my third question na kailangan yung ilagay doon sa comment box. Give me one hero and then one icon that you know. So what are the ways on how to become a good Filipino? Of course, be an active Filipino citizen. When you finish your college degree, then you have to work immediately. You serve the country. Be a taxpayer. Diba? Be a voter, a responsible voter. So those are the two ways na pwede kong isuggest sa inyo on how you will become active Filipino citizens. For number 2, you study the Philippine history. So, syempre, dapat alam mo yan. Hindi ka dapat mangmang pagdating sa history and you don't just watch TikTok. Diba? TikTok has no basis. You have to remember that. It's an open social media platform where everyone can post whatever they want and everyone can say whatever they want. So you have to read books, valid sources, and proofread research works. Yun ang mga dapat mong pinagkakaabalahan. Support local products. So sabi ko nga, as you patronize other products coming from other country, it signifies a decline in the economy. And pag nag-decline ng economy natin, that means bababa ang trabaho natin. Diba? Bababa ang employment rate natin at bababa ang income na pumapasok sa ating bansa. Next is you speak the Filipino language. So how are you going to do this? Sabi ko nga, part of the symbolic interpretation is the rich language and culture of the Filipinos. So kung halimbawa ang region mo or ang province mo ay may sariling language, then you have to use that language because when it vanishes, that means the culture also is being removed from the system, di ba? Nawawala yung kultura ng province ninyo. Then you have to speak that language kasi pag sinalita mo yan, ibig sabihin, hindi mababawasan yung mga taong gumagamit yan. Kasi pag nag-decline ang paggamit ng language, then that means magzi-zero at mawawala na yung cultural heritage ng iyong province. Next is do not spread fake news and be democratic in engaging in dissent. So what are this? Pag daw halimbawa nakikipag-argue tayo, don't just base it on TikTok, don't just base it on the most followed and most famous vloggers na nakikita ninyo sa TikTok. You have to engage in any argument coming with a very good resources or being democratic. When you say democratic, you're exercising your freedom that contains facts and also well-supported resources. Hindi lang basta-basta bara-bara. And when you say democratic, you're not going to express yourself in such a way that you're going to discriminate or intimidate anyone. You have to express yourself in such a way that you are educating other people and avoiding misinformation to them. Okay? Or avoiding misinforming them. So that's it for the first module that I am going to upload for this day. So later on, I will be posting on the digital self. So I hope that you will be posting your answers in the 3 questions na ibinigay ko as part of your attendance. Okay? So, sige po.